RPS. Live from Primavera Sound 2022. Proudly presented by Cupra.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the weekly review live from Barcelona, and we have round the table Stephen Malkmus, Scott Kannenberg, Steve West, Bob Nastanovich, and Mark Eibold here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Pavement are in the house.
Thank you. Yeah, good pronunciation.
I got it right. I got it. Yeah,
nailed it.
Guys, how does it feel to be back at the Forum after 12 years?
12 years.
Crazy.
Great.
Muy bueno.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any memories from then that stuck?
Fond ones, yeah. I remember it was a fun show, and crowd was fantastic.
What about
Yeah, we only played once here as Pavement, but some of us have played in other iterations of our musical careers. I love coming here to Barcelona and playing at the festivals, Primavera. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
I mean, Stephen, you've been here I don't know how many times with the Jigs. Countless times. You're almost like Steve Albini. Steve Albini has the record. He comes every
Almost
year.
like Steve.
Almost.
He's nice.
Put that on your gravestone, basically.
Couple Steves.
But it also, Primavera Sound always felt like the little private members club for all of the bands that defined alternative, subversive music in the 90s, in the 80s. Does it feel good when you run into like Thurston or Kim or Albini and stuff?
We know those people, you know.
Yeah.
I think, the festival, if I'm not mistaken, the Barcelona guys who started this, they're from similar generation, and maybe they were promoting these kind of bands first. And then, like, of course, it's grown. So, yeah, when we see people from that time, it's cool. We know Dinosaur Jr. and
Oh, yeah.
we're big fans of them. Dinosaur Jr. was one of the bands when I was a kid. Like, their album, You're Living All Over Me, that was like a
Seminal.
moment. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And sorry, Ben.
No, I was just going to say, how does it feel? Like, I'm quite interested how it feels to be like sitting here as Pavement in 2022. Have you got used to it yet?
Yeah, we hung out for like 2 weeks, nonstop rehearsing in a positive sense, and now just I'm serious. I feel
Pumped.
pretty normal. It feels pretty normal because of that. I think like it was just especially Stevie here. He brought like some serious drum stuff that was like imitating the records to a point that I was blown away. Even records he didn't play on. You know, and I was like, and so the band kind of exists in a virtual, you remember what you played live, what that was like? That's a little blurry how you played the songs, but you play them back like the record. It's actually might be kind of cool for people to hear us in more like in a simulation of the records, what they were like, and mixed with energy of live.
Because I understand that you also have an extra member who's kind of beefed up in the songs with a little bit of synths and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Yeah, she's Rebecca Clay Cole, and she's I've always been the keyboardist kind of by default, and I'm not really a proper player, and she's really, really good. And plus, she's extremely good at adding percussion and the high-pitched sort of background parts, which I would always sing off key. So personally speaking, it's a great relief to have her, and she's also just an awesome personality, and that comes through on stage as well. So it fills out our sound, especially on these bigger stages. You know, we definitely welcome her.
We can expand some tunes that we didn't play live back in the day because they had like really significant keyboard parts.
Yeah.
The Pavement heads will know what I mean. I'm not going to bother you with. I mean, you're a relative Pavement head, I'm sure, but. People, I think, will be psyched to hear these songs with these parts that I consider really hooky parts of the song. Mm-hmm. She can do them. It's pretty cool.
She's added 10 songs to our arsenal, I think.
I was going to say, so you your warm-up gigs, you played like songs you haven't played for like 25 years or whatever. Is that going to continue? You've got lots of sort of new old things?
Yeah. Tonight, I mean, I'm not going to, no spoilers, so we won't talk about tonight, but we do have a tour coming. It's not as important as this show at all. This is going to be the best one ever. But we are.
That's very important. This is
playing
very
like
important.
2 hours.
Highly anticipated.
We're playing 2 hours, and so we gotta mix it up, and different shows every night, different set lists. that was a priority to us. So
78 songs we learned.
Yeah,
78.
Well,
I think we practiced like
maybe
60,
70
and we've
more.
got like 40 in our arsenal.
So
Did it feel like playing them for the first time in certain cases? It's been a while.
It's been a while since,
Definitely.
since I've even
Serpentine.
heard of them.
yeah.
Serpentine, huh?
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, there are a couple that really feel like playing for the first time
Yeah, some we haven't played since the
for
early
sure
90s.
in
Yeah.
LA.
What was it like in LA? That was last week, right?
Yeah,
That was
it's
the
good.
first show you've played live before an audience in 12 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was
That's
good because
sick.
the crowd was fantastic and we were ready. You know, it
super sick, and like
Yeah.
some people, like a lot of singing along.
was
It made
great.
me forget that, I want to be like some noisy hipster guy, like making like complicated music, but like some of the best things were back when I was just making really memorable melodies that people could sing along to. And it was great to see. I mean, it made me feel great. I think all of us
Yeah,
to hear
really.
people coming back at us.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about Harness Your Hopes, because obviously back in 2010 when you last performed, it was a B-side and, not that well known. And like now it's certainly if you look at like Spotify or whatever, it's like your biggest song. Is that weird that this kind of song has taken on its own? Like, I've never seen anyone quite explain why.
TikTok.
It's weird.
It's been explained.
Yeah, there's some weird science to
It is very weird because that's has something to do with the Spotify algorithm.
That too.
And the Spotify algorithm chose that song as
Maybe.
to be the song that the Pavement song that plays on people's playlists
It's
or
also
whatever.
got
when they
some
hit random
images
or
and
whatever.
lyrics that maybe kids today,
Jive with.
yeah.
Yeah, they like
There's
to think
one
of
specific-
roasting their parents on a spit.
Yeah, there's a really funny line in it. There's a really funny I mean, I say it's really funny, but sticky line in it is like, "Show me a word that rhymes with pavement, and I will kill your parents and roast them on a spit." And for some reason, that little hook, like kids, they're like, "Whoa, that's surprise, that's bass, that's
Very
weird."
Rumpelstiltskin kind of
Yeah.
vibe.
We found out that patricide and matricide apparently is very much in these days. It's disconcerting.
Yeah, it's cool though. I mean, I think it's every artist. Obviously, you would like to have a life beyond your music, to have a life where it takes its own life and goes a different direction, as long as it's not like to a fascist anthem or something. Like, I think I'm into that, and I have a feeling with all the algorithmic BS that it was probably just a guy from Spotify that put it on a list because he liked it, a fan, and maybe they don't want to say that because that's like privilege,
giving away their secret.
that's privilege that he's like someone's picking things, but
Right.
it's more interesting to think of it
I
as
know,
like
yeah.
science, some like evil algorithm. It goes more with some Netflix show,
But it's fun. It's fun to play it. We never really played
Yeah,
it.
it's
Never.
good.
Surprisingly, it's really good.
Surprisingly, it's good.
Well, now seems to be like a 90s revival in the sense of there's lots of younger artists, like, I don't know, Girl in Red, for instance,
Oh, yeah.
or
Beaver Doobie.
Biba
Hundreds,
Doobie.
hundreds and hundreds. Yeah.
And it's not just the music, it's also there's that slacker attitude that's trendy again on TikTok or whatever you want to call it, where kids are choosing not to be ambitious, and all this kind of message of you got to bring it and be on top of your game, and you got to be an empowered person and reach goals and make money. And Pavement always seemed to be a little bit against that. Am I right? Like, were you guys always a little bit allergic to that kind of success?
That was a mere
search?
facade. I think that was actually inaccurate. Like, I think we actually were trying our best. Maybe we just did it in a way that looked quite casual.
Yeah, maybe on the economics line. I mean, people like to talk about the 90s being this time of economic prosperity and jobs falling off trees, and it was so much better than it was for the millennials or the Zoomers. But the early 90s was actually when I moved to New York. We found jobs. He worked at UPS. I worked as a security guard. I didn't know how to get these great jobs.
No.
They weren't there. So
$15 an hour.
it was just a little short. And of course,
that's
yeah,
pretty
the tech boom created all this splendor. And then you had music that reflected that sort of decadence with that kind of empty Britpop and stuff like that. But so yeah, I think maybe that's what's similar about it. That attitude where it's like, why try that hard? What is there to get? There's nothing for me to get anyway, so I'm gonna be chill.
But once you Pavement became a phenomenon, and during the 90s you had this reign. But watching, I don't know, bands like Yola Tango or Mascis with Diners Jr., bands that were able to have a successful career without selling out between, in the sense, you might get a video on MTV and stuff, but they kind of managed to play by their own rules. Did that ever interest you, like thinking, look, let's try and find a way of continuing this because we can live a nice life being musicians?
Yeah, it's a micro scene, that's what I would call it. These are all niche bands that were able to find their audience through hard work and being different from the rest and not being in a marketed in a mass way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're just like small. I think that's how, I think that works now. That's an okay thing. Of course, there's like super boss hip hop artists with millions of streams, and they can survive that way. But a lot of us, we're just like finding our small microclimate to exist in. I don't know if that's what you wanted answered.
We're very
I'm
fortunate.
trying to give you something good.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I just want you to talk. I just love
Yeah.
listening to your voice. If I put a beat on it, it's like listening to a new Pavement song.
Yeah.
A beat, some lo-fi recording.
Yeah, you can do that. You can steal all this and make your own song.
Yeah, we're gonna have you sign the NDA.
I'll scream in the background if you want.
I'm interested in like
Freakness.
Yeah.
how do you personally have like songs that you maybe were less keen on back in the day that you like more now, or you've kind of reassessed some of your albums? Does it really change? Like, for example?
Yeah. Well, some of them, like earlier songs when you're young, there's some emo things, and just when you sing them, they ring false. That's all. Like, it's more performative. I'm not going to say which ones, but, there are young man's anger about, like, not be able to score chicks or something, like, is the bottom line. And now I don't really care about that, right? So those ring. I trust the feeling, and I like, the emotion, and but when you're playing, you're like, oh, this is a little bit like back then. And there's just like weak songs that aren't as good as the others.
Hmm.
And
And there's songs that we used to play a lot. We don't play anymore because we just played them too much.
that
So,
happens.
Yeah. For a few.
And playing them live, you also some have a special. You're like, oh, we actually play this well together.
Mm-hmm.
This song's cooler than I thought it was.
It seemed to me like back in those days, songs used to just kind of fall out on you. You had so many songs, thinking of all the reissues that are coming out now, and they've each got like 30 extra songs. And I remember like listening to you do John Peel sessions. There were songs that like have only just come out now. Was it that way? Were songs just coming out, or and if so, like why? Was it?
It was I think we liked bands like that, like me and Scott. He being like big Echo and the Bunnymen fans, you'd look for like the weird song that was on a record that was only released once. I'm talking about more major bands like REM or The Fall. They got loads of tunes, right?
Yeah.
If you're just getting into it, you're like, what was that little Slates EP? That's epic now, but like back then, I was like, what is this mysterious Fall record? The Slates EP, I must have it. So that was like sort of like push yourself harder to make new things. If it's not good, at least it's different and it wasn't done before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why.
Also, Pavement were notoriously DIY. You guys were your own managers, and you'd book your own tours and travel in those kind of circumstances. What's it like now? Do you guys have it all professionalized? Do you have like a person taking care of all the the
We
flights?
have to. Yeah, we have to. When we could do it all ourselves, we would, because we can do that. But pretty much since the mid-'90s, first 5 years, we used to kind of take care of just about everything except for booking. We have had the same booking guy since '91. But yeah, you reach a certain level where you have to hire people. So
Yeah. Which is cool because you're giving
they're
job
all
opportunities.
good. We had the same crew for many, many years, all the way through 2010. We've got some new people this year, and we're off to a really good start with them. They're all lovely people
Yeah.
who have a lot of experience, and so we're thrilled to have them. We're a tight group. Like, there's no separation between band and crew. Like, there are equals. Like, we don't talk down to them. They're. In a lot of cases, they're.
Unlike
said,
all the other bands.
I sort of sense these people. Like, a lot of people you work with, there's a separation between band and crew, like a hierarchy, and like we've always resisted that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was.
Do not cross this tape.
It's crazy. Like you tell a lot of crew people like have been kind of like almost abused. It's weird.
Oh, I think it was.
Yeah, you're like, come on.
Dude, you're cool, man.
You can have this bottle of water.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You can come in my room and have a beer.
But only if you set up 3 guitars first. You know.
Yeah.
But I think it was Mac McCohan from
Superchunk
Superchunk and Portastatic who said that it was he learned it from Ian Mackay. The importance of eating well while on tour. Have you guys refined that to make sure you're not just eating like whatever?
We try. We think we're going to the cool place, and then like 5 other like teenagers from England come to the same restaurant, and like there's no secrets. But we like to go out and eat, man. Of course, to eat, it's delicious. Especially this town. There's a history of eating like in a relaxed and social way, like multiple times in the day in different ways.
Yeah.
Do you guys live here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all we do.
How long have you been? How long have you been in Barcelona?
I've been
This
here
time?
Second day today.
Oh, so you've had time to lounge and
Just a
see.
little bit yesterday.
Yeah, after
I've
we
been
play, we'll have a couple
back
of
and
days.
forth.
Oh.
Back and forth from the city, 3 or 4 times.
Nice. And by the way, you're also playing Oporto, right?
On the 10th.
On the 10th in Portugal in our.
Never been there.
That's going to be
You
nice.
like that, Porto? Nice.
It's because it's a little bit cooler because you're on the Atlantic side of Atlantic Ocean, so it's breezier. It's very green. It's a different whole thing to this urban landscape.
Right.
You'll love that. And
Excellent.
We're into it.
Yeah, we're excited.
Like a lot of people, and not to mention the P word that ends with a C.
Portastatic.
We've been bored out of.
Ptolemaic.
I can speak for some of us, but we've been like spinning our wheels a bit in
Pubic.
in our houses and homes and towns. So like pretty psyched just to get out. Like probably a lot of people who are here at the festival.
Yeah. Well, you're all family men now, most of you, right? You.
I don't have any kids. They all do.
Okay, but now you're bonding together again on stuff that you did all those years ago, but now you've got a different outlook on life. Have you kind of maybe considered prolonging this honeymoon, this reunite?
We did already. We're going on. Originally, we were just going to play one show pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
We were just going to play this.
Primavera
and then
Sound.
see if we fell in love again, as you said. And like
a great excuse.
all our sharing our children and all the things we share now, that we would just say like, why don't we also share the band and continue? But we didn't know. We had to play that first and see it, hear it off the Primavera stage, like echoing through there and seeing people's faces and jaws dropping. Minds being blowed, and then we were gonna do it. But what happened was, it was sort of like when you knock up like your girlfriend when you're young, and you're like, I don't know if we want to get married, but we got to get married now. So what we did was, since we're doing these shows, we already scheduled those shows, even if we don't get along, so we're already like coming.
You're committed.
Yeah, we're committed. So
it truly is that corny.
Thank God, Dave.
No, we're doing it, and like maybe we will again, but 5 years, 10 years is not a bad with this marketplace. Like, not to talk about it in terms of people's attention spans or wallets. It's like, come back, go back, come back. You don't want every year the way the prices are these days. You don't want to see a band again. You're like
12
you're
once
just,
every
like,
12.
Like, I can only see my Pavement every 5 years. I got to work for it.
You mentioned kids. What do your kids make to your music? Do they like it?
Oh, my kid likes
Not really.
K-pop, but
She's 11.
She's here. She's here. This is the first time she'll see us play. So
she must be
I think
excited
she's
because
pretty excited.
Dreamcatcher are playing with her.
She's never
kinda
been.
K-pop.
She's never been up this late.
It's
So
pretty annoying.
she'll
Like,
be-
imagine, I don't know if you remember your parents, but if they were always like, some kids, like, parents are like, your dad's really cool. You just be like, kind of
Yeah, exactly.
sick of it, right?
Yeah.
Relative, because what I'm saying is there are a few kids in our school that are like, oh, your dad's in this band. It was like, they were really good 20 years ago. Or,
Wow.
No, but they say actually they're fans. I think you're like, I don't really want to deal with your music. I'm gonna become a nun and live like as an anchorite in a totally alone. I don't know.
Well, here for a few years, because Primavera has been going through a transition of changing audience, having a younger generations coming, and now we've embraced pop music, like big pop in big letters, Dua Lipa, Rina Sawayama, we've been talking about, and all of a sudden, all us indie guys, well, we're no longer indie kids. We're like, they call us a very horrible word in Spanish, like old cocks, like the
Not
the
dad.
gray hair, like we've become the dad rock.
Yeah.
The dad rock guys or whatever, and the girls. There's many dad moms, rock mom, mom rocks.
What are you saying?
I'm trying to go down
Mama
there.
rock.
So basically,
I know what
when
you
you guys
mean.
played that show in LA last week, did the audience feel elder, or did you see sort of some young people in there?
I would say that we're a band that a lot of parents have turned their kids and nephews and nieces onto, so we're seeing, I think, both that we're seeing a lot, like maybe a certain percentage in our age group, but plenty younger,
Yeah, not only from their parents telling them. There are some kids that are into it. There is this archetype of the slightly introverted 17-year-old boy who's like looking out in the field, and he can go see Travis Scott or something, but he also is like, oh, I relate to these guys. Like what you were saying about earlier with the generation similarities. So we're seeing a little limelight of that. And so at the show, there were kids there. There were a lot of old people there that were like, this show's 2 hours. It's too long.
It was late.
But then there's others that are like right on, bring it, and they're singing. So I think we're pretty lucky that way. I see it, it's weird how that works. Some bands, like I went to see Deerhoof. You remember them?
Yeah, Deerhoof.
Really good band. They had kids in their crowd. Like, why? It's a really cool band that plays weird music, but you might think that it would just be their generation going, but in hardcore it works too. It always did. When Fugazi would play, there's like, you're in so maybe there is an indie continuum. There is, hypothetically. I mean, I don't like being called indie, but let's just say it is. If you're an indie, you will go see, or when Neil Young played, everyone wants to be related to Neil Young. So Neil Young plays, lots of kids there, right?
Yeah.
They want to see old Grandpa Neil shred.
Yeah. Well, it's like when we were 12 years old, we were into the Doors or Velvet Underground, and those bands were either not active or dead or hell of old,
I think I saw them, Pavement, when I was 14. I
Did you?
think. Yeah.
And there's the see 'em once thing at concerts, like even when I saw the Rolling Stones, and then I was a huge fan of the Stones, but I was
played
like,
last night.
I heard that
in Madrid. Yeah.
I heard that, and we're gonna play more songs than them, even in our short thing. And I was like, I gotta see him once. I just want to see him. I can say I saw him. I think there is
I still haven't seen it.
There's still some of that.
I was gonna go last night.
It's like a rare Pokemon chance to see us. So some kids will go see us. I don't know.
Yeah. We can see it happening here at Primavera. There's so much space for everyone. it's gonna inevitably gonna happen. By the way, have any of you been in touch with Gary Young recently?
I spoke
How's he
to him
doing?
a couple months ago on the phone.
How's
He's
he
hanging in there. He was hilarious. Yeah, I called him up to hear his voice, and actually, he famously answers his phone, like the phone stops ringing, and he just says, "Yeah." And I wanted to see if he still did that, because that's what he did all the time in the 90s. And sure enough, I was talking to my hangout with my friend. I was like, "This guy, wait till you hear this guy answer the phone." And he, like, it rang twice. He goes, "Yeah," like that. And I was like, "It's Bob, And he was like, "Really good to hear your voice. Really, really good to hear your voice." So we talked for like a half an hour and shared some stories and caught up and stuff. And he's hanging in there, he's hanging in there.
Yeah.
5353 is the easiest birthday to remember of all time. And his phone number is 209-931-5409 if somebody wants to call him.
They're making a movie about him with puppets. What are those puppets called? Marionettes.
Marionettes, yeah.
And these guys are making a documentary with marionettes.
Marionettes.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Always puppets are always a joy to watch, and you can watch them with your kids and stuff, and the whole family is.
Yeah, we can watch the Gary documentary with our kids.
Well,
that is all we have time for.
Thanks, you guys.
We're broadcasting live
Thank
from
you.
Barcelona.
It's been
Thanks.
pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
It's been an honor. Pavement, ladies and gentlemen, playing tonight only, Primavera Sound Barcelona. Woo! Next week, Barcelona, Primavera Sound Oporto. Thank you guys, and we hope to see you again very soon after tonight's show.
Cool.
All
Thank
right.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
I know.
Yeah. Thank
love
very
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
RPS. Live from Primavera Sound 2022. Proudly presented by Cupra.